This episode of Southeast Iowa Today is brought to you by Griner Auto Body of Washington, Iowa. Using state-of-the-art techniques and decades of experience to get your car back on the road after an accident. Car Doctor of Washington, Iowa. No matter who Frankensteined it, they can fix it, clean it, and customize it. McDonald Boneyard of Keota, Iowa. For all your farm equipment and auto recycling needs. Hinshaw Trailer Sales of Richland, Iowa. You need a trailer? They've got your trailer, and they can fix what they sell and don't in their full-time repair shop. Girling Repair of Winfield, Iowa. If your mower is dead, call Fred, your Husqvarna, Aaron's, and Gravely dealer. Fred also fixes and sells snowblowers. B&B Propane and the family of jet stops. Dutch Market and Coffee Talk of Washington, Iowa. Dutch Market can handle all of your grocery needs, and they even have a conference room you can use for free. Coffee Talk's drive-thru is open and ready to serve you coffee, energy drinks, sandwiches, baked goods, and ice cream. They all present the award-winning Southeast Iowa Today. Here's the author of Christie's Journey, The Beat Goes On, and your host, John Bain.
Thank you, announcer Cody Roy of NewEnglandDukes.com for your golden pipes and that wonderful introduction. Today is Friday, March 14th, 2025, and State Rep Heather Hora and State Senator Don Driscoll are doing their third of three legislative briefs today, right here in City Hall in Washington, Iowa. Let's go inside and see what they've got to share with us.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
My name is Michelle Redlinger. I'm the director of the Washington Chamber of Commerce, and thank you all for joining us this afternoon. I want to start with a few housekeeping items. This would be a great time to silence your phone. Restrooms are outside in the hallway. And I just want to let you guys know that the Washington Chamber is a nonpartisan organization. We are honored to host these events to open communication with our community members within Washington County and our legislative representatives. The format for our legislative briefing is we will begin with an update from our legislators, and then we will go around the room and our community members are given an opportunity to ask a question, make a comment. We are expecting a large crowd, and during each of these events we always seem to run out of time. The city does need this room here shortly after 1 o'clock, so we're going to have to keep a short timeline, which is why we did some of these fun slips here today. So reminder that you guys have 30 seconds to make a comment, ask a question. We're going to be a little more cognizant of the timing today. Our first priority is to make sure that the representatives within Washington County get a chance to speak and be heard. So if you are a voter within Washington County, you should have received one of these yellow slips. And if not, our event coordinator here, Kelly Stucker, has some in the back, and she can get you one of these. If you are a voter outside of Washington County, we still want to hear from you, and if time allows, we'll circle back through the room and we'll try to get to as many questions, comments as we can. If you do not get the opportunity to speak today, as you leave, you can put your slip on the table, and then we'll pass those on to our legislators so that way they can be aware of any questions and comments that you have. So I just want to thank our city partners, thank our members, everybody for helping us to host these events. And I'm not going to take any more time so we can get right to the reason why we are all here. And I'm going to begin by opening the floor here to our state Senator Don Driscoll for an update.
Hi, thanks so much for everybody attending today. I think I'm going to start with the update just because this bill just dropped last week. I'm going to talk about the property tax bill that we introduced last Friday. And so it's SSB 1208, and this is a historic tax bill that will bring relief to Iowa property taxpayers. and it will reform the property tax system and have more predictability to businesses in our local governments. This bill builds on the success of House File 718, which has addressed the immediate needs of Iowans, exposing large gaps in the system, and sets the stage for deeper reform. This bill will be the biggest overhaul in the property tax system since the 1970s. It will bring certainty, predictability, and transparency to the local governments, and will provide real reform and relief for Iowans. It levels the playing field between the urban and the rural, which is very important, and it also controls local government spending while providing more flexibility, and continues to work and will continue to work on the 23 property tax bill reforming. It's a very complicated system. Some of the highlights of the bill: it will provide an estimated $426 million in property tax cuts. It will implement a revenue restriction to ensure property tax relief for all Iowans. And it will also provide a $25,000 homestead tax benefit. And it will also lower the uniform levy to $2.97. The phase-in revenue restrictions during the phase-out of the rollback is to protect against the property tax increases. It will ensure that local entities cannot maintain excessive cash reserves and responsibly buys down those cash reserves over a period of time. This will provide additional property tax relief for Iowan veterans and seniors. There is a senior 65 and a 70-year-old property tax in this bill. For the predictability for our local governments, which I think is important, it will limit the local government by updating the House File 718 revenue limitations to a more streamlined, predictable formula. The phase-in restrictions and incorporate adjustments between the new growth and reevaluation to businesses and allowing for better planning. It will update the school aid formula and help both the property rich and the property poor districts. This SSB 1208, this phases out the antiquated rollback systems for residential and commercial and industrial property over 5 years. By eliminating the rollback and limiting the revenue increases and moving from the credits to more of the exemptions, will make the property tax system simpler, fairer, and easier to understand. So, just like everybody else, we got this bill last Friday, or I think it was Thursday, so I'm happy when we go through this to take your input and take your concerns, because I will take those back, because this is a work in progress, this bill. This was just the rollout, and we have the entire session to work on that, so thank you.
Thank you. All right, State Representative Heather Hora.
Yeah, thank you for everyone being here today. So we got through funnel week last week, which was kind of a wild ride. We have over 900 bills that we passed in the Iowa House. So we caucus every day, debate every day, and we have tons of stuff on our plate. So I don't have a lot to say leading in, because my concern is what your concerns are. So I would rather give my time to the questions, if that's okay.
That sounds wonderful. Okay, I'm gonna get myself situated here. Sorry if I screwed up the timer. No, it's just hard because people are going a little bit short or long. I'm trying to adjust here. So, we're gonna begin here in the front. So, if you wanna start off, please.
Yeah. JJ Johnson. I live here in the county, and I have been paying a lot of close attention to Senate File 418. It's getting moody in here. I've been paying a lot of attention to Senate File 418, which of course rolls back civil rights protections for trans people. We all know about that bill, right? It's the first bill that Governor Reynolds signed. She made that her first priority this year. Very important stuff. I will be speaking about it at the Washington County Board of Supervisors soon, hoping they'll endorse a civil rights ordinance to fix the mistake you made. but I would love for you to defend your decision to vote for that bill.
Well, I don't know what rights we rolled back, because
Oh, I
there's
do.
28 other states that don't have gender identity in code. What was happening was we were protecting girls
How?
by not allowing men in their personal spaces.
Okay.
So we couldn't do that and have gender identity protected in our code because of a lawsuit, right? So we needed to take gender identity out so that we could protect girls, basically is what we did.
Do you support trans people being thrown out of a restaurant for being trans? Because that's what this bill would allow. What would it not do? How would that not be? What's not true about what I just
In
said?
the 28 other states, are they being thrown out of restaurants?
Could be. It's legal. We don't care about it. You say you don't know what rights you rolled back. It's the biggest bill in Iowa's news right now. We all know.
We just made them the same as everybody else.
As
Because-
women and
because
men
you believe-
and
Because you believe that you are something other than what you are,
Mhm.
it should not be protected in code.
all right.
Okay?
Well, for anybody interested, I'll be at the Washington County Board of Supervisors asking them to pass a human rights ordinance because they're too cowardly to fix it. So, be checking out the agendas. I still have a little bit of time, but be checking out the agendas so that we can fight it back at the local
This
level.
isn't your briefing.
Oh, true.
Time is up.
All right, let's roll.
Do you have something? Are you,
Yeah, sure.
do you have a yellow slip? Sorry.
Yeah,
Okay, sweet.
got my yellow slip. My name's Katie Hosteller. I recently moved back here to my home state, and I was dismayed to see that as I was unloading my moving trailer, you were voting to take away civil rights from my trans friends and neighbors. I saw Heather justify this vote in the local newspaper and just now, as your great concern for the safety and security of children and our daughters. I am also concerned about the safety of women and girls, but not from your supposed trans danger. I'm concerned about real threats like gun violence, domestic and sexual violence, children being subjected to invasive gender checks due to bills like this,
All right, thank you.
Cancer.
Sorry, I have to cut you off.
not being able to find a doctor because doctors are leaving the state. I can go on.
It's a statement.
Oh, I didn't get to my question.
Sorry. All right, so.
What is your
Ma'am?
plan to stop wasting time on bills?
So just a reminder here, we've got to use our 30 seconds here to make your comment or question. It's one or the other here, so.
Yeah, it was also at 18 when I started, so.
I'm sorry. Ma'am, do you have a question or comment here? Okay, thank you.
No
Jill?
response?
I'm here to support Linda in her teaching career.
No,
I
okay.
can respond. Cool.
Cindy? Hi, I'm Cindy Widmer, and I'm a resident of Washington County. I've been a Medicaid case manager for 31 years and worked in other capacities over those 31 years. I'm concerned about funds being depleted to Medicaid. And Medicaid is what funds mental health disability services. And I just want to keep that on the highlight on your radar, that who is going to care for those who need those services if funds are depleted or reduced. Thank you.
I don't think we're doing that at the state level. We've heard that, that from the federal. And I know that we've actually, because we're very, both Heather and I are very supportive, especially of our rural hospitals, and what they're trying to overcome as far as, the rollback of 2 years, being able to ask the hospitals to come back on that kind of stuff. And we're trying to put up, a group of hospital administrators to come together and talk at the state level on how to better implement and how it's affecting the local hospitals. So, we can do that from the state level as far as what the hospitals are going through and, trying to make that more efficient.
This goes beyond hospitals, it goes to direct care.
Sure, and that too, yes, absolutely. And nursing homes and things like that.
My name is Linda Sokop. I'm a retired public school educator, and I live in Washington. I'm speaking today out of deep concern for 3 critical issues. I will only do 2 because Lisa's going to do 1. The diversion of public school funds towards vouchers, the proposed pay raises for the governor and lawmakers while teachers struggle, and the rollback of civil rights protections for the LGBTQ community, including restrictions on gender identity. As someone with family and loved ones who are part of the LGBTQ plus community, these issues are personal to me. First, shifting public funds to private school vouchers threatens our already underfunded public schools. Public schools serve all students. I'm deeply concerned about the recent bill restricting gender identity in schools and broader rollback. Every person deserves dignity and protection under the law.
Linda?
I urge you to reconsider these policies. My questions are, how are you
Linda,
working to
I'm so sorry,
strengthen
honey.
the education, ensure fair wages for teachers, and protect the rights of all people? All people. That's for both of you.
I gotta figure out what questions. Can you go through your question?
Yeah.
Like, there was a lot in there.
Well, the first one was about vouchers and taking away from public education, and the second one was about taking away the rights of people who are trans and are non-binary, and those people are people, and they are who they say they are, not who you say they are.
Well, I don't think that, so the scholarships that are used, I don't think that's necessarily taking money away from private schools. That's giving parents the choice of which school they want their child.
Yeah.
Nope. That
That's
is
not
true.
true, because why are we struggling then?
I don't know.
I don't know, we just met with Willie Stone just before we came in here. I don't know, he didn't mention that was an issue. So,
How do you protect all Iowans? All Iowans.
that is what our bill did.
It didn't.
Yes, it
Nope.
did.
No, it restricted people from being themselves, and you
It
are
doesn't
not the
restrict
person-
anyone from being themselves. I never,
It-
in there, it does not say that.
It's restricting them from their civil rights to be who they are and not be discriminated against, because that's who they are.
That's who
I
they
have a
believe themselves
brother-in-law
to be.
that is now a
I have
woman,
all the
And
compassion
I
in the
have
world
a
for
brother
someone
that's
with gender
gay,
dysmorphia.
and I'm tired of people being
it's-
so
it's-
cruel and
okay.
bullying these people.
I'm not gonna debate.
I'm not debating, I'm just saying that
We hear
you
you.
need to hear
Lisa,
what we're saying.
I don't want your time to get taken up.
It's fine.
I'm Lisa Houston, I'm a teacher here in Washington. HSB 31, the start date for the calendar for the year, I would advocate that you change that so that we can get things going. HF 859, teacher reduction in force policy. It wants to eliminate seniority. It wants to use by teacher performance. What about teachers who teach special ed in Title I? We always work with this.
What bill number is that?
HF 859.
859,
It's teacher
okay.
reduction in force policy. They want to take out seniority. HSB 156, posting all instructional materials. It's just not feasible. There's not enough time to do that.
I just met with Teresa on that a few minutes ago.
Okay? All right.
And what'd you talk about with Teresa?
About what it's gonna look like, what the curriculum posting is gonna look like. Because that came to us from superintendents, from teachers. We are not dreaming this stuff up in our education, committee. So it came to us from teachers, from superintendents, from parents, and they all are in the room. So I did have a conversation with Teresa Beanblossom just right before we came here, and, we'll have more discussions on what that's gonna look like when the Department of Education puts out their requirements.
Sure. Caitlin McCain, Washington Evening Journal. So the Grain Indemnity Fund bill is something that I keep hearing a lot about from farmers. House File 508. It passed from committee February 20th, I think, and I haven't heard much about it since then or seen much action about it on the website for the legislature. I'm curious about one, like how you get the to raise the minimum and maximum in that fund in short order. Like, does the state do that right off the bat, or do you sort of wait for that to gradually fill? I'm also curious about why it excludes deferred payment contracts.
In the Senate, we didn't exclude the deferred payment. You know, we talked about updating the floor and the ceiling on that because when the fund was originated back in the early 80s, you know, the corn, or, you know, like the production, we were definitely not have the kind of yields that we have today. And so that is why we had to update the floor and the ceiling on that to try to protect, you know, the farmers. And so, because we're just producing more grain on less ground. So we were just trying to have an impact on that. So we passed it out of a subcommittee because it's in ways on our side of the chamber. I think it's in the House on yours, or in the Ag Committee.
It's in that committee.
Yeah, ours is in ways because it has a fee, so.
Sure.
And Senator Driscoll and I are opposite on the grain indemnity fund because I believe that the fund is okay as it is, and that credit sale contracts and deferred payments are management decisions, and we should not insure management decisions made by people that are making them. So that we do split on that. I think I was one of the no votes in the Ag Committee on that bill, but we have not seen it yet on the floor.
Can you tell me more about what you mean by it's a management decision in our 45 seconds?
How you sell your grain, selling it through a credit sale contract or deferred payment is a management decision. It's not selling it like cash.
Sure.
I'm Jeff Schwartzentruber. I'm the school business official for Mid-Prairie Community Schools. And my concern is the delay on the SSA decision. It's pretty much a crapshoot for us when we're trying to set property tax rate that is supposed to go out tomorrow to all the voters. And so, I mean, we're looking at how do we set our property tax? How do we look at growth? Are we gonna give 2%? Are we gonna give 0%? And then that also impacts how we negotiate and talk with our teachers and our staff on what kind of raises we want to be able to give them. So I just want to know the status.
I think that we're still in negotiations. You know, the people who ran the bill, the chair of the education in the House and the Senate, they're trying to come to a compromise. We would love for it to pass. Personally, I would. I think that it is important to get that done, and hopefully they can come together soon.
I think it's important to get it done in the middle of February, not the end of March.
We would agree. We would agree, but
I
there's
agree.
such a difference in between where the Senate is and where the House is. The House has so many added on things like the transportation, the operational sharing, the one-time funding of 0.6%. All of that is in addition to the 2.25, whereas the Senate is at a straight two. So there's a lot of, we're not budging on what we believe is right for schools, and they aren't budging on what they believe is right. So that is, I mean, it's crapshoot. I would go with 2% if you're looking at something to budget for, but I can't say what's gonna happen in the end.
Nothing happens at 0.
It won't be zero.
I mean, I would like to believe that we're gonna come to an agreement soon.
Hopefully by Monday.
Wouldn't that be nice?
Thank you.
Nick Detweiler Stoddard, I pastor with Washington Mennonite Church. Thank you for being here over the last few years. I apologize for feeling a little bit like a broken record. I often want to use my time just to encourage you as legislators to resist the urge to villainize groups to help solve problems. We've talked about a few others, and I'll say the same thing I've said at other meetings. Encourage you to not pursue policies that threaten, especially Hispanic immigrant communities. They are quite a large minority community, and I encourage you, from a faith perspective, to resist pressure on local police departments or offering extra threats of deportation. I've said it before other years. I just need to keep reiterating it because it continues to be a heavy threat that I see you all putting through to migrant communities locally.
Response, okay. You resident?
I'll do it a little bit.
Okay, we're gonna go through the room, and so this is your chance, and then if we've got time, we'll come back then.
Thanks.
So, sir?
Yeah.
Are
Hi,
you,
Rancho
do you have
from- I'm sorry,
are you a Washington?
Riverside.
County?
I didn't take the thing because, I thought it was for notes.
Okay.
And I've got notes a lot. My thing is cancer. We're #1 in the nation, head and neck. We're #2 in the nation overall. And Reynolds has made it so that it's hard to sue the chemical companies. We had 5 friends die from cancer two of our very best friends, and it's bullshit that they can't sue the chemical companies for that. And our time for comments is just ridiculous. We should have all day to make comments. Thanks.
Well, thank you for coming today and sharing your thought. Heather and I, we're very accessible. You know, we're up at the Capitol all week long, and you know, we take phone calls and you email us. So as far as comments go, you know, you can talk to us anytime. That bill is coming through the Senate, and and I think the governor proposed a $1 million, study at the University of Iowa to, help combat that. So
Figure out what the cancer rates
But
are.
I want to ask you, you're a farmer, how many of your friends have died of cancer?
I know.
And I didn't want to go over, but it's just.
Nope, and we understand, we've got a lot of radon,
That's not it.
legislation.
It's been studied, it's not radon, it's not water, it's farm chemicals.
Okay.
A resident, you have a comment or question?
Yep.
Hi, I'm Kathleen Jans. I'm a resident of Washington County for over 15 years. I'm a emeritus professor of epidemiology at the University of Iowa. I'm a cancer survivor. I don't know this guy. Iowa has the second highest cancer incident in the US. We have the fastest rising cancer incidence. We're not satisfied with being number 2 for having so much cancer. Cancer is always multifactorial. One factor is Iowa pesticide exposure. Senate Bill 105 will restrict Iowans facing cancer to sue pesticide manufacturers for health and safety risks due to product labeling. Bain is strongly lobbying Iowa legislature to pass this bill. Bain has already paid out $10 billion for not warning potential risks. My question to both of you is, are you going to protect Bain rather than Iowans facing cancer with respect to Senate Bill 1051? Thank you.
So what the bill says is, in the Senate bill, is that you cannot, we're allowing, because the EPA will not allow Bain to put, I have not read it in so long, I have not seen it.
They're only allowed to put certain things on their label.
On the label, so then you can't sue outside
According
of
to
the
the
scope.
EPA. So they can't sue for anything that's not required of them to be put on the label, or not even required, but what they can put on their label. That's all done by the EPA.
I will repeat myself. Bain has been sued successfully for $10 billion for not putting things on the label. They still don't put it on the label.
Because the EPA
Because the EPA won't allow them
won't
to.
allow them to put it on.
Doesn't require.
Right. They won't allow them to. It's not, doesn't require. The EPA will not, the EPA approves their labeling. So it's an EPA issue.
If pesticides cause cancer, why are you not allowing Iowans to sue for their cancer?
Outside of the scope of the label, is what the bill says.
I'm sorry, this is my area, this just sounds like don't speak. You're not protecting Iowans. Please reconsider how I think you're going to vote. And maybe you could just tell us clearly how you plan on voting, so at least we know.
I'm supporting the bill.
Yeah, I will support the bill as well. It's a labeling bill. It's not,
It's
it
a
doesn't,
labeling.
I understand what you're saying, but it is not about, the bill is about the labeling. That's 100% what it is about.
Thank you.
Yep.
Watch you go here. Karen, we'll do Karen through Iowa and then circle back on this next thing, so.
My name is Julie Gentz, and my husband died of Parkinson's disease, and I am here representing the Parkinson's community. I do a lot with the support group NWI, and it's exactly right. We're one of the United States overall doesn't get those chemicals out of the farming use, and there's a class action suit going on right now in the state of Iowa, and has been for a long time, for people who have Parkinson's, and that it's related to that, because it has been shown that it's directly related to that. And with the cancer rate so high in Iowa, I cannot believe that we don't do more for our farmers and our population.
Right.
I saw again in the local paper that another nursing home in town has been fined again for, failing their inspections. We really need to do something. These people keep getting fined and they don't pay and nothing happens. I really would encourage you to, let's crack down on these people, let's stop this. There's, innocent people. So,
Agree 100%. We've been in talks with a lot of the, because there's a lot of nursing facilities that do it right, and we need to take care and make sure that all of them maintain a certain level of care. It's something that is high on my radar because I feel like we need to take care of our youth, but then we need to flip it and take care of our elderly as well. So we spend a lot of focus down here. We need to start putting some of that focus up here.
We
So
only
that's
end
something.
up there, so we
Yeah,
gotta-
exactly. I mean,
Yes.
it's the truth. And so we have a great group up there that we work with and try to find legislation that will help. Because it is something that needs to happen. We like I say, the focus is fantastic down here, but we need to start putting it up here.
Supporting them.
So appreciate that.
Hi, I'm Terry Ann Siegfried, and I'm a librarian here in Washington County, and I wanted to say a few words about a couple bills that really have the potential to harm public library services in Iowa. First, HF 521 would strip protections from Iowa libraries, removing obscenity exemptions from Iowa code, exposing library schools and educators to unnecessary legal and financial risks. I have 100% confidence that there are no materials in my library that meet the legal definition of obscenity. But that doesn't mean that someone can't come into my library and say that they believe something is obscene and file a suit against us and require us to spend time and money to defend that. And then HF 880 would prohibit public libraries from receiving enriched Iowa grant funding if they're dues-paying members of an organization like ALA or ILA. To me, this bill is a complete waste of time. I've been working in public libraries for almost 40 years now, and I've never worked for a library that was an instant. I'll get to my question really quickly, okay? So anyway, for many reasons, this bill is a real waste of time. And my question to you is, why are we spending time on bills like this that are gonna harm public library services in Iowa rather than looking at ways to bring back the library levies and improve library services in Iowa?
I mean, you know where I stand on it. I talked about it last. I stopped those bills from the Senate side. So, I thought that, those bills, what was presented on my desk, I think that our rule, you know what I mean, I've toured many of our libraries and I think you guys are doing a great job. So, you know, I did not support them.
It's my understanding that Representative Hora voted for both of them.
Right, yep, and it is something that we're looking at on the House side. So what happens a lot of times is you need to vote things out of committee so that the entire caucus can have that discussion, and some of those things are, we represent 99 counties in the House, right? So we wanna have those discussions with all representatives, and if it's in committee, you're talking about 15 members of the caucus where we have 68. And so that allows it to go forward so that everybody can have that discussion on those bills. So we have not discussed them yet in caucus, but that will be happening, and what will happen with those bills, I'm not sure. But that's what happens.
Could you share how you stand?
How I stand on
these
bills?
bills, yes. And thank you, Senator Driscoll.
I don't know that they've been fully explained. If what the bills are saying that they do, it really does, then I'm for that. Obscenity has a definition in Iowa code. Yeah, so nobody can just come in and say that they believe a book is obscene and have it, well, they can, but it has to go up to the scrutiny, right? And then it'll be easy to decide whether it's obscene or not. So but it's in Iowa code.
Cities our size and smaller, and even cities larger, we pay our city attorneys by the hour. So being required to defend those, even, in a preliminary manner, is going to cost us funding.
Well, I would hope that somebody isn't just out there saying that something simple as obscene. Obscene has a definition in code.
It's a national movement. It's a years-long national
I'm
movement.
just telling you, obscenity is in code.
Thank you. Next person will talk Washington County.
Hi, Eileen Barron from Kelowna. A bill that didn't make it through funnel would have criminalized administration of mRNA vaccines. But it could be reintroduced in a, later in a different form. Do you support restricting these vaccines? Why or why not?
I haven't seen that bill either, but I was not gonna vote for that.
Sandra Jones of Washington. Senator, I'm glad to hear that something's finally being done on property tax. I would like to read my statement that I received yesterday from the county, and it says, oh, I didn't get my glasses.
Can I read yours?
Yes, please read it. Reasons proposed property tax exceeds the current property tax. We understand this is difficult news, but the tax rate increase was, unfortunately, necessary to cover the 1.2 million special education deficit, and due to supplemental state aid being set too low, combined with declining enrollment, require us to be on the budget guarantee, which is all property tax. There are 320 some school districts in Iowa. 159 are sitting in this position where we're funding all of that without state aid, because the protocol is if you don't have growth, you lose. That needs changed.
Richard Gilmore, Washington. The surplus that we have, is it a rainy day fund or is it a slush fund?
I don't think you can touch it, I don't know. Which are you talking
The
about?
rainy day surplus that we have at the state level, is it a rainy day fund only to be accessed when we need it? On a rainy day, a major catastrophe, or is it something that you just borrow money from whenever you want?
No, I definitely know, I'm not on appropriations, but I know that there are very strict rules about what we can do as far as accessing that fund. So, we don't use that as far as our budgets are concerned, and when we're doing our formulas. That's what I know about it.
Thank you. Okay. No. All right, Joe. Kurt.
On the great indemnity that was referred to earlier, I guess I would be against raising that top, putting another $8 million in there from where the top is right now. Them dollars could be invested in market development versus sitting there in a multi-decade account that you hopefully never have to use. If the first purchaser is being audited correctly, we should never have to use that account. So I think that taking extra money out of farmers' hands when that can be put into conservation and other programs that you guys are already spending money to would be a better use for those dollars.
So I'm Blake Sheets, a junior at high school here at Washington. I was just gonna ask you guys about the deal with the Des Moines community schools getting rid of their ag program for next year. And if there was anything that you guys could do to like help keep the ag programs in there more, because there's already a code that went through last year, I believe, that like requires the ag classes. But what is there to like stop that from happening in other places and keep those ag programs in the schools?
Thank you. I guess you wanna go first?
No, go ahead.
So that was made aware to us. Actually have been working with Senator Biziano. He brought that to our attention, and we have contacted, like the state FFA board, because I'm sure as you were a proud FFA member, Heather and I are the same way. My daughter isn't, all of my children have been in FFA, and I think that I have told Senator Biziano that, showing Des Moines that they don't have to fight this alone. The school board, I think they had an enrollment of 45 kids in that program, and the Des Moines schools didn't see the value in it, and they're trying to figure out a way to prove and show across the whole entire state of Iowa, because I'm sure, even you guys would go up to Des Moines and advocate for their FFA program as well. So, and I think every FFA member would. I know that when they posted that, as they say, it went viral, and there is a lot of people who have been made aware of that, and we're trying to work with the school to see and prove to them how valuable FFA is.
Yeah, why the school board made that decision, I'm not sure. And that is something that we deal with a lot with our Des Moines legislators, and see what we can do, and put the pressure on the
And
school
help
board.
them,
Yep.
help them fight this and show how valuable, because I'm sure, as you know, the Des Moines FFA, those students that are in that program are very competitive at the state level and what they do, and they've made that program amazing. So it's an outstanding organization, and I was glad that they brought it to our attention, because I think FFA chapters from across the state have been trying to figure out how to show Des Moines that they are valued, and because at the end of the day, we are an ag state, and it's even so important in the urban area, so.
I'm Presley Hora. I just wanted to say thank you for what you guys do and for getting us bills in sports.
You're welcome, it's our pleasure.
Thank you.
I think that's called nepotism.
No, is it?
I'm Elizabeth Hora, and I just wanted to thank you guys for keeping gender is biological.
Sex is biological.
I'm Ken Schroeder, Washington, Iowa. I have two things. One, please keep your hands off the libraries. I trust our librarians. The other thing, I have a question for you. I've asked you this in the past. What are you doing about clean water? And you've said, well, we haven't seen the bills that have come up, and there have been no bills come up. I would think that the two of you, as farmers, would be able to use your knowledge of the farm, and what do you think you can do to make it so that we can all have clean water, so that your kids and maybe your grandkids will get clean water someday? What do you do?
Before Heather and I were even in office, they worked on the water quality initiative up there, and we fund the Department of Agriculture, and the natural resources, and we talk about what can be done, and the bill is that they put forward 8-10 years ago, I think.
The nutrient reduction strategy was longer than that. When was nutrient reduction strategy? Bill Northey was there.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we fund the Department of Agriculture, and through their programs is where the water quality comes from.
And how's it doing? Not doing too good, is it?
If you look at their reports, it is doing well.
Okay, didn't they defund all the other reports, reports from the University of Iowa?
Yeah.
Yes, they did. They defunded it so that other people could not put in what the results were. It's skewed.
Resident Washington County?
No,
Okay.
thank you
Thank
for
you.
allowing me to visit, because in Johnson County, where I'm a constituent, I don't have anywhere to be able to share.
Thank you. Sir?
Hi, thank you for coming. I'm disappointed that more representatives don't make themselves available. I have an observation and an appeal. I'll start with the appeal, and it has to do with vaccines as well. I really hope that you vote against any bill that encumbers access to vaccines for any reason. I think it's very unfortunate. The second thing is an observation, and as a person who grew up here in Washington, moved away following work, as so many do, I came back to Washington to retire. I can tell you that the changes to the Civil Rights Act, taking away civil rights protections from a segment of our population makes Iowa diminished as a place to be, as a place to want to come, as a place to live. And I think your votes were very unfortunate.
Ken Crawford, Superintendent for Highland and Waco. I'll just echo the SSA soon, please.
Yes.
So we can get going on
We
a
agree.
variety of things too, so thank you for that. Also, I'll be sending you on data on the 4-day week positivity of the results I have from Highland and Waco, as well as I think Winfield, Cardinal, Keota, as well has positive results to show you that you can have some positive feedback on what people are hearing on that one. Also with the calendar, I would love to have an update if you can today, as well as any information on what Representative Kaufman and Senator Dawson put in for the property tax reform. If you haven't hit that already, I came up late, so I apologize. But I didn't know if those two topics you could give me just a quick update if you can. Thank you.
Well, that's, I mean, the holdup on the start date is in the Senate. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. I put that bill in.
Pressure the Senate. No, I'm just.
I've put that bill in for the last, I
Right.
think, several years. So, I agree with it and would love to be able to get that passed. What else did he say?
About the tax, what Bobby and,
Oh, yeah.
Dan have for
Hold on,
taxes
let me-
for this, for schools.
So, if you have, you know, I know that there is the section in there where it talks about, I have my notes here, where it talks about schools. You know, we're talking about the uniform levy. We're taking it out of the property tax and kicking it back in, for the schools. Hold on one second. It says over the time frame for the rollback is being phased out of the school aid formula and needs to deal with the adjusted. And those new valuations, there's not gonna be any change to the FY '26. It will be more on the FY '27 is when it'll start. And if you have any specific concerns, this was just the initial rollout of the bill, and we would be able to love to hear from you and how you think. The change in the foundation is the level to be increased to 100% by FY '31, reducing the additional levy to limit the items currently covered within the formula. That will be left to the paid for by the additional levies that is dropped out for the prevention and any school district with the cost per pupil above the state cost per pupil of the budget guarantees. When the foundation percentage reaches 100%, the various provisions that can now be removed are providing with property tax relief. And these funds can be used to made with other adjustments and corrections. So the funds include the levy buy down for that fund, and the property tax replacement payment is due to the additional levy being replaced. And these can be removed as the foundation level has increased and the foundation base, the FBS, and the 1992 property tax replacement provision. So I know, sorry. I wanted to read it because it's a lot.
It's a lot.
So we can go over it if you wanna call anytime. We can go over what I know, and if you have any input, we would love to.
Because the board hears that as the rollback goes to 100% on your residential, that doesn't sound like savings to them, so it'd be good to say, if this goes up, what's going down to save people? So that they know where that money shift is coming from, if it's gonna be that safe. And I know Bobby as well, too, you know, but at the same time, I know there's a lot yet, just.
It's it's really about simplification of property taxes, because it's such a difficult.
And each county.
We shift, just hope we explain where that shift is.
Yeah, and each county is going to be you know what I mean, it's gonna be unique for each county, basically. And I think that's what the counties are excited about and they're happy about. So, you know what I mean, because we're going to be moving towards, I don't wanna say this wrong. Instead of the credits, it'll be more the exemptions. That's the shift. And that's where the funding will go.
Those are the things for clarity in the future, in the next few weeks. I know it's a lot of work.
No, and we are in town on Fridays, so we just met with Superintendent Stone and their curriculum director. so we could always come out to Highland and meet, because you know I always love to come to Highland.
I appreciate that, thank you.
Yep.
Yeah, my name is Jim Miller, I'm from Kelowna. My concern is our education system, and the reason I say that is because when I was going to school, which was quite a while ago, the United States was near the top. Now it's ranked number 38th or 40th, and Iowa, from my last research, is ranked 11th in this country. And I'm looking at that and I'm going, what's happening? We need to have a good curriculum, and I know I'm out, good curriculum and reevaluate the whole education system. So that's all I can say since I have no more time.
No, I would agree with you, and I believe that's what's happening in the Trump administration with the, with getting rid of the Department of Education. Because since the Department of Education has become a thing, we've gone downhill.
No, simple as that. That's as easy to understand.
It's not causing. Do you have a comment, sir? No? Okay. Okay.
Speaking
All
of,
right, okay.
speaking of, Trump, is there anything we can do on a state level to stop this humiliation of him with all of our allies?
I, probably not. I don't know what you're speaking of, but.
You don't know what I'm speaking of?
That'd be a federal.
We could vote out Miller Meeks.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's a good start.
And also, I am a cancer survivor, and I did not have the BRCA gene. Might have been because I handled a lot of meds before regulations as a nurse that were cancer causing. But speaking of nursing homes, it's funny how a place like the one here in town can stay open, but a nurse cannot have her ice water on her desk. Those are the things we get fined for. I think you need to look at that a little
Yeah, I've never heard
closer.
that. That's interesting. Yep.
Yeah, isn't that interesting?
Yeah, thank you.
All right, thank you guys for being so brief here. Is there any other resident from Washington County that
here.
has not had a chance? You're outside Washington County, right?
Outside.
Right? Okay. All right, so then we've got a few minutes here for those outside of
finishing
Washington
what I was
County. Sir,
saying.
if you'd like to.
Same thing you were saying. Thank you. Paul Millice, I just want to thank you too for all you do for the residents of, Johnson County and Washington County. I think we're lucky to have both of you. They're not full-time employees, but it seems like they're putting in a lot of time. I also want to mention that farming is a very noble occupation, and we owe everything to the farmers. I'm not a farmer. The bills I'm opposed to the 5 forest reserve bills and particularly the 3-tiered taxation. I also would like to suggest that we have a credit for active forest management practices. Senate File 553 that restricts a DNR from purchasing public land. Iowa is one of the lowest public land states in the nation. It's a quality of life issue. Tourists don't come to Iowa to look at row crops. They come to look at the foliage and hunt and fish. Also opposed to House File 382, the landowner deer tags, taking it up to 20 acres from 2 acres, with the guys saying we're low on deer numbers in western Iowa, but then it's gonna explode the numbers in eastern Iowa. So, thank you.
Thanks for that. I just saw that bill the other day. We haven't discussed it as a caucus, but I did see that was something, I don't know where it came from, but I will figure out whose bill that was and ask them.
The forestry reserve bills, those will start, we're just, with the property tax bill, now it's Ways and Means season. I think we've that's how we've first met and became, friends, talking about the forestry reserve bill. I think the one you're talking about would be with Senator Clemish, the 3 tiers.
Well, there's actually 2 bills similar, and they're companion bills in both chambers.
Gotcha. That's what I mean. I think that one is the Senator Clemish bill.
Right.
Talking about, landowner, you know, if you, is that what you're talking about?
Yeah,
Is that
yes,
the same
that-
as
that's,
last year? Okay. We'll start working on those and working our way.
Understand.
It's not going to be, you know, all three of them, you know, we'll figure out which one, will make it and which one won't.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
16 years, I think they've been debating that, 16 or 18 years.
We've almost known you that long.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Is there any other attendee? Okay. Thank you.
Hi, I'm from Iowa County. Question for Senator Driscoll. Actually, question, not comment. Are you planning to do a legislative forum like this in Iowa County?
I am in Iowa County
A legislative forum like this, open to the entire public?
We go to, Representative Lawler and I go to different communities every Sunday or Saturday mornings to hold the coffees.
That's not the same. You're not, I don't get to hear all the questions and answers when I'm at that one. I went to Judd's and at the brick house, you were not there.
I was at my child's,
That's okay, I'm just
I
saying.
know, but it's never okay for you know, for me to be a mom. And
It's
you
okay.
have to understand that I do have to do things for my children. And so we are accessible every Friday. Judd and Heather and myself are in the district every single Friday doing, you know, we go and meet with the schools whenever they ask, and we do. So Judd and I absolutely go to the coffees every Saturday. And when I can attend, because you also know that I farm. And so there are times, like today, it would have been nice, my husband had requested me to be home today, and we have to reserve those for Saturdays and for Sundays, because I have to work too, because Heather and I are part-time, do this part-time, and we do treat it full-time. And we are often Thursday nights, Friday nights, and Saturday nights. We are out in the district absolutely as much as possible. So there has been nothing scheduled. And so that's why Judd and I take it upon ourselves to host in different towns in Iowa County and in Johnson County every Saturday.
Where is that calendar at, that I can see it?
I don't have,
Judd puts it on Facebook.
I'm sure Judd does as well.
Where's your calendar on it? How do I know where you're gonna be?
I'm usually with Judd.
Okay, I get part of my 30 seconds back, sorry, because I did not take 30 seconds for my question. It's still to make this comment, not the same as a legislative forum where I get to hear all the questions and all the answers that you're taking at a coffee house. That being said, I wanna do a follow-up on the Medicaid question. I know that's a federal issue, but the number I have is that 66,000 people in this district, first district, congressional district, will lose their Medicaid if what's happening at the federal level goes through. That will affect Iowa. What's your response to what you might have to do in Des Moines? I mean, you gotta be talking about this before it actually happens. Because by then it's gonna be kinda hard to do something. Oh, that's a question. What are they gonna do?
I've already.
They said no response.
Yeah, I
Oh,
mean,
I
it's.
didn't hear you say that, I'm
Yeah.
sorry. Please do come to Iowa County though for a full forum.
Yes, I absolutely am there every Friday. I live there. I'm out and about. We are trying to work with the chamber, coming up with
I
a
know,
different
I'll talk to
date,
them.
and I have not, you know, we just haven't said anything. So
Okay.
you are more than happy to come and join Judd and I for coffee on Saturday mornings.
Where are you gonna be this Saturday?
Tiffin.
I'll be there.
All right, I think we've got time for maybe one more. Okay, go ahead.
Hello, I am here from Johnson County. I'm a small farmer on the way. I'm a constituent. My farm was impacted by the defunding of LFPA, and a lot of my other friends' farms were too. For those of you maybe that aren't familiar with that, it's just local food purchasing assistance where federal dollars are given to school districts and local food pantries to purchase products from local farms to provide for the students or the folks that might come to the local food pantry. And so we farmers are given a fair price for the products that we provide. And so 11.8 million, I think, was just flushed from the USDA. And since Iowa is an ag state, I'm wondering what kinds of things can Iowa legislators do to help us? Thank you.
Well, so the LFPA, that's a federal program,
Yes.
and it was announced in 2022, and the funding source was the American Rescue Plan and Commodity Credit Corporation. The food banks received 5.7 million, the schools received 2.2 million, and all contracts for LF22 will be honored and expenses will be paid in accordance with scheduled conclusion of the program, which was always set to conclude in May of this year, right? So then, before the last administration left office, they quickly announced October 1st, a funding program that, if you talk to the Department of Agriculture, they never believed was gonna be a thing because it was something that they did rushing out of office. And there was never any contract signed up for that, is what they were telling us. So to say that they broke contracts, if they did, please show us where the contract was broken and we can try to address that from a state level. But they're saying that no contracts for that program were ever signed up, and the contracts for 2022 are being fulfilled because it runs out in May. That's what we're being told.
Well, from my understanding, the contracts are in-house at the USDA, but the funding was pulled. And
That's I will look into that, because we were told no contracts for the new program that
For
came out in
LF25.
October. Right, for this funding year.
Yep, for the
The October
LF25.
program were never executed. That's what we were being told. That the funding, the program that was set up in 2022, those are fulfilled. They will be fulfilled. That goes through May. That was the original end date. This new program, they say there's been no program was ever executed. No contract for that program were ever executed. So
And that's-
nobody should have lost out, or no contract should have been broken. So if they broke a contract with you, please let us know, and show us where that happened, and we can take that we'd probably have to take it to Miller Meeks or someone like that. But we would be happy to help you with that. But as far as what we're being told, that's
Federal.
That's, well, and it's.
That's the information that we received
Right,
about it.
because we did look into that. But Iowa does have a Choose Iowa program, so I would look into maybe being a part of that.
it's just very minuscule compared to 11.8 million.
Oh, I understand that.
All right, thank you everyone for joining us today. I appreciate you being with us here. Representative Hora, Senator Driscoll, thank you community members for joining us. I know there's never enough time, but I appreciate everything, and stay safe this evening with the incoming weather.
Thank you.
Lots of passion today at the legislative brief here in Washington, Iowa. I want to thank Michelle Redlinger of the Washington Chamber, and of course Representative Hora and Senator Driscoll of the great state of Iowa. And I want to thank you for watching, and I've got to thank our sponsors, Reiner Auto Body, Car Doctor, McDonald Boneyard, Hinshaw Trailer Sales, Girling Repair, B&B Propane, and the family of Jet Stops, the Dutch Market, and Coffee Talk. I'm your host, John Bain. Stay friendly, Southeast Iowa.